Hey guys, today, like, the speed paint, what I'm drawing is completely irrelevant to what I'm going to be talking about, and I think that's really funny. But, like, if you don't want to hear me talk about, like, the Beatles, which are one of my big interests, then just, like, mute the video and watch the speed paint, you know? But, I am going to be talking about it, because I love the Beatles, like, so much, dude. Like, you don't even know. But, I'm just gonna go over, like, fun facts I know about the Beatles, because I love sharing shit like this. But, basically, uh, some backstory for the Beatles, because this is not common knowledge I've learned among most people. But, the Beatles became a band because of John Lennon. John Lennon. Derogatory. John Lennon, in about 1957, and they were originally called the Quarrymen, and it was like John and his like school friends, you know, and like they had this like little backyard band. I can't remember everyone that was in it, but I think the biggest one was the biggest ones were John and Stuart Sutcliffe, you know. But the Quarrymen were a thing for a while, you know, and then Paul joined, and Paul introduced his then best friend at the time, George, to John, and I can't remember what the song is right now, but in order to get into the band, George had to play that song, and he played it so well that like John was like, oh fuck, he's like better than I am. So yeah, and like that's how the like main three ended up getting to the band. I'll get to Ringo later, but fuck, I got lost my train of thought. Don't mind that. But yeah, George is in the band, and I think it'd be about 58, 59 when he got into the band, and like they basically played with like whoever they could. Like if they could get a like a spare like a drummer or something, because how it went for who played what instruments at the start was John, George, and Paul were on guitar, and then Stuart was on the bass, and like they would like play if they got wait, actually that might be ahead. I might be getting ahead of myself, guys, because I can't remember the exact order, but I do know that all this shit like did happen, you know. But I'm gonna backtrack, actually. Sorry it's not very organized. I'm not the best with that. But going back, those four were like the band, and then Pete Best was their drummer, you know. I don't think I was getting ahead of myself, but you know what? I've already moved on, so oh well. So Pete Best was their drummer. They went to Hamburg in about 1960, like 1961 or so, around that time. And I can't remember what it was called, but they played at this specific bar, and like they were playing like shows constantly. They had to like share this one tiny room in the back, and like in order to stay awake, they were like hopped up on fucking drugs, like just like the kind that keep you awake and shit, you know. And here is where we're gonna go into one of my favorite Beatles stories, because it's so fucking, yeah, that's the Beatles, you know. And it's one time George Harrison was like fucking sloshed, dude. And he like threw up on the ground, and like no one wanted to clean it up, because like they all had to share a room. No one wanted to clean it up, so like it sat there for a while. And they only got rid of it because the guy who like owned the place they were staying is like, come on guys, you can't do this shit. And then they're like, ugh, okay. And they like cleaned it up. And like they even had a nickname for it, and I think it was like the thing or something along those lines. And it's really funny to me, because like that's just nasty, but like that's what they did. And yeah, fun stories and all that. And then moving on get to, I think it's 1961 or 62 or so, and Stewart wants to leave the band. And remember, he's the bassist at this point. Stewart wants to leave the band because he met a woman named Astrid Kutcher in Hamburg, and he's like, yeah, like, I want to stay with her, and also, like, I don't want to be, like, deported, because, fun fact, they did end up getting deported at one point for, lighting a condom on fire, and also because George was, like, 17 at this time. It might have been, it was a couple, no, actually, it was, like, 1961, he was 17 then, and, yeah, but anyways, like, he was like, yeah, guys, like, this is not it for me, but, like, I wish you best of luck. And the sad thing about Stu is, he ended up having, I don't think hemorrhage is the word I'm thinking of, but it was like a brain hemorrhage, and, he ended up dying, like, really young, and it is kind of sad, because, like, he was, like, John's, like, best friend at the time, you know, besides, like, Paul, and he, like, really missed him, because they, like, used to live together and shit, you know? But yeah, because, like, Stu left the band and then he died, someone had to take over the bass, so that's how Paul McCartney got started on the bass, because, like, John and George were like, yeah, I'm rhythm guitar, that's John, and then I'm lead guitar, which is George, and it's like, oh, okay, and then Pete Best was still, like, a drummer, you know? And, there was this other band called Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, and they had a drummer named Ringo Starr. Gee, wonder who that is. And then he ended up, you know, joining the band, because, you know, it's the Beatles, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, but, he ended up, joining the band, like, a year or so later. Like, he was buddies with them because of Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, because, like, Mersey Beat, which is what Beatles and Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, like, were, was, like, becoming a big thing. And this record store owner named Brian Epstein, unfortunate last name, but he was actually a really cool guy. He was, like, these teens came to a shop and asked about, oh, do you have the new, I think they were going by, it was like Johnny and the Moondogs, or like the Silver Beatles or something at that time. And he's like, oh, do you have that? And he was like, oh, no, what's this? And then he heard it, and, like, he went to one of the shows and he was like, oh, like, holy shit, because, like, they were performing in this place called The Cavern in Liverpool, which is, like, where all the, like, cool bands in that area were performing at the time, you know? And, yeah, that's, like, basically where I heard them, and that's where they got their start, because, like, Brian Epstein was like, yeah, like, I'm gonna, like, manage a band, you know? And, that's how he got started there. But, like, every single, like, record company and shit, when they heard, like, about this band, they're like, oh yeah, for, like, guitar bands, like, they're on their way out, like, no one wants to listen to them, you know? And they were in for a big shock a couple years later, but basically, basically, they managed to get, like, this, like, audition, like, recording thing, and they recorded Love Me Do, because this guy named George Martin, their, future producer, and, like, the other guy besides Brian, who's called the Fifth Beatle, you know, because, like, I think he was, like, cheating on his wife or something, and his, like, bosses were like, come on, dude, that's not cool. So we got, like, stuck with the Beatles, and he's like, oh, like, these guys could be great. But, like, at that point, Pete Best was still a drummer, but Pete Best was, like, an awful drummer. Like, he was not good, he was not on time, so they were like, yeah, so he was like, yeah, guys, you gotta replace him. They're like, oh, sorry, Pete, and then they replaced him with Ringo. And then, like, they recorded Love Me Do. I think he actually got a different drummer to play on Love Me Do, because he didn't think that Ringo was playing right on that. But, like, Ringo plays on, like, nearly every other, like, Beatles song, you know? And, like, that's basically, like, the early Beatles. I was gonna do, like, more broad, but I get focused on one point, and if I ever make another video where I, like, talk on it, then I'll actually, like, you know, like, talk about, like, different eras besides just, like, the beginning, you know? But, thanks for watching this video, and, I hope you enjoyed the speed paint, which is, like, completely different from what I'm talking about. And, yeah, bye!